Thank you for tuning in again to No Crime After Dark, where we have to talk about crime in the daytime because she's scary. Still daytime for me, not so much for her today. We got some technical difficulties. I'm jet lagged, so we lacking a little bit. Hopefully you guys checked out our last video, the killing game. It's pretty interesting, a little sad, but interesting. This week we're going to be a little upset because this story makes sense. It's so frustrating. Just everything is just unnecessary. I don't even know why this is even a thing, but here we are. So today we will be discussing I call this one Evil Stepdad because I couldn't think of nothing else. Yeah, I just Evil Stepdad because Buddy was crazy. But we will be talking about the murders of Kara, Chadney, Coy, and Kaleigh. And these are all children, unfortunately. So I'm gonna just keep doing it till she gets the jitters out the way. So Ty, you go ahead and start.
Okay, so it's Gregory Green is his name, from Detroit, and he was in church and met Faith. But prior to this, he was in prison for 16 years, right? 16 years? 16 years.
It was a while. Yeah, I think it was 16.
For 16 years. So he met Faith. No one really knew his previous crime or whatever. No one knew exactly what happened. He said that he accidentally killed his wife because they were pushing and shoving each other. And so no one really knew what he really did. And I guess because they are God-fearing people, that they kind of believe in, change and people changing and finding the right path. And they were really hoping that, I guess, Greg was on that path. So him and Faith got married. She had 2 young children already. She said they were 8 and 10 when they got together. And had kids of their own and seen signs that she should have paid more attention to. But she was just hoping that, things were for the better. Like, she really hoped that this guy changed, but he was very mean. He was aggressive. He was very angry. And I don't even know what made him like this, because I couldn't find anything that said anything about his past or his raising or whatever. Nothing. Like, I couldn't find anything.
So he was raised, the little bit that I caught on it. Yeah. He was raised in like a pretty religious Christian home too.
Okay.
So like you said, Faith and Greg met when Faith was 14. He was already almost 30.
Oh, I did hear
at the time. Yeah. So they did meet at church. Then Greg did go to prison.
Yes.
And Faith's father, who was the pastor of the church, advocated for him to get out. So what throws me
about was the letter?
Yes.
That was a recent letter when I seen it. I was like,
no.
Okay. I was like,
no. Okay. The letter that her dad wrote was to get him out when she would have met him.
Okay.
Again, or they reunited, we'll say. Okay. So they meet when Faith is about 30. So to me, from jump, this is just weird because that's almost 20 years of age gap. But who am I to judge? Some people think it's a lot of space between me and Paul. So I don't know. I just feel like almost 20-year age. That's 16.
Yeah.
That's 16 years apart. Like, who does that?
I don't know.
So they get together.
That she said that she was talking to him in church when she was 14.
She said she used to have a crush on him before he went to prison.
And that she would talk to him at church when she was 14.
Yeah.
Make them some cookies. Maybe that would have worked.
Fish. So they get together. Yeah. And you've already given the brief synopsis of it. They get together. Yeah. What's odd to me is a person goes to prison for 16 years.
Nobody knows
Nobody asks why.
And this isn't, he was released in 2008. There was Google.
No, real talk.
Yeah, you could have Googled.
Like, even if you were too uncomfortable to ask him.
Yeah.
No.
For sure.
So they get together.
And they are from Detroit. They're all from this neighborhood. Yeah. So you're telling me you didn't know anyone that knew him or knew of him? And after reading the crime that he did, accidentally killing his first wife, didn't you see that on the news?
She was 14. And at 14, other than the weather, because if it snowed, I just wanted to see if we had to go to school or in the summertime, because the school I went to didn't have no air conditioning.
I would hear stuff like, watching it here in the news, like, oh, some mom missing in Miramar, like, oh, Marie.
Yeah, but I think something like that, with it being Detroit, we've both been in Detroit.
Yeah.
With it being Detroit, like it's a regular thing for stuff like that to pop up on the news. Yeah, so even if she did hear it, it probably went in one ear and out the other kind of deal. Because it's terrible out there.
Somebody had to know something. I just don't.
I feel like her dad knew and played crazy, because you're not doing all that advocating for somebody and you don't know why they're in there.
Did you see the video of the dad?
No.
Okay. Oh, that's why I know how to be. So I researched her speech that she did, and they showed like the video went into the dad. He looks like the dad to me. I was like, the weird kind of shit.
Creeper?
Yeah. I was like, that looks like the dad. Like, okay.
So, you know me and my notes. So they get together. Everything's great. Everything's always great in the beginning. Yeah. Everything's great. They had their first. It was 2 girls, wasn't it? Coy.
Yeah.
Kaleigh? Okay. It was just the name.
Coy was older. And
yeah. So they had Coy. Everything's going pretty good. They have Kaleigh, and now he's being weird and distant. Like, he's not excited about being a parent. She's
not helping. Not helping. He's not helping.
No, he's not helping with anything. He's not changing diapers. He's not feeding the baby. Her daughter Kara and Gregory start having their own beef because he didn't like her attitude in her mouth, and he even voiced the fact that he didn't want his girls growing up around her. Right. Mm-hmm. And then the other thing that I didn't like about when Kaleigh was born, the reason he wasn't helping is because he wanted a boy.
Right.
He was mad because they had another girl.
And then what would have made me, there's a lot of things that would have made me second guess this whole relationship, but her saying he took us to dinner or somewhere on weekend getaway, but just with me, Coy, and Kaleigh, and Kara and Chadney were with their dad or was whatever. They were busy. They were not coming. And he was like, I wish it can be like this all the time, just us.
So no, it can't be that. And she did say that, like, no, I have 2 other kids.
But it's just like, that's something to me, like, so what are you saying you don't love? I mean, not that you're ever going to love my kids like they're your own, because those are your own kids. But this is like we're a family. Like, you can't just choose.
You don't change that. Like, that's like when my mom and dad got married. She came in with my brothers. And then they had me. And then my dad just one day decides, oh, don't you think it would be better if it was just me, you, and Taida?
Right.
Like, no. What do you mean? Like, I have 2 sons. No.
That was a little weird to me. That would have made me feel some type of way, like saying to me, oh, don't you wish it was just me, you, and such and such?
Yeah, no. And then after that, I'm giving you a side eye for everything after that.
Right.
I don't trust anything you do after that.
Right. Yeah.
So Buddy starts showing some real weird signs. Y'all gotta excuse me if my language and speech is off today. Like I said, I'm jet lagged. But when he hit the baby, and she said he hit the baby so hard, she could hear it from the next room.
Right.
From the next room. Not she was sitting there
tossing
smashing some bread.
Yeah, like, come on.
Yeah. Now, just listen to how petty this man is. So they do break up.
Yeah.
Actually, they got a divorce. And
paperwork. It was not finalized.
Yeah, it was not finalized. Mm-hmm. So they broke up once. They got back together. He's still being a weirdo. He's still being distant. His mood swings are changing. And she said it's like in a matter of minutes. Like,
yeah,
everything will be fine. They're laughing and joking. Mm-hmm. And then he'll just spaz and flip out. She came home one day, and this was a major red flag. And she stressed me out. She got on my nerves. Like,
yeah, very. I don't know. She's telling her story, and like I'm hoping.
But baby, that ain't even naive.
Yeah, just like you were just sitting there, like you just, I don't know.
So she comes home, and all she can smell is gas throughout the entire house, and he just sitting on the couch, like ain't nothing wrong.
And then he's like, "What are you talking about?" But then say, "Oh, I did turn the gas on."
But who does that?
It's weird.
Who does that? So anyway, they signed the divorce papers, or they filed for it. It never became final. She was away from this man
for 2 years.
2 years.
2 years.
2 years. And was like, he seems to be doing better. Like, they usually always seem like they're doing better. But in this case, you were shown twice before that he was not doing better. And she got back with him. So he's still being weird.
Yes.
And things take a turn for the worse one random evening. And it's bad when you have to start going to sleep with pencils in your pocket.
I know it was really weird. Of all the things in the house, you said, I'm going to put pencils in my robe.
Definitely would have found my filleting knife because it's sharp as all. Yeah.
All those things in
a gun, anything. A skillet even. Just anything. But she chose pencils.
Pencils. But we know whatever.
I guess a weapon is a weapon. My mom used to always say that about like stuff they say you can't bring to school because it can be used as a weapon. It's like you can use a pencil as a weapon. But anyway.
Faith knew.
Yeah. So she sleep one night with her pencils. And this is not funny. I don't know why I always laugh, but she's in the bed with her pencils. And he comes and wakes her up out her sleep because she needed her pencils. Yeah. She wakes her up out her sleep and tells her to go downstairs. When she gets downstairs,
her son is
okay. So Chadney was already down there.
He was standing next to the couch.
So he makes Chadney tie her up
with the zip ties.
And
she said at first, her son was like, Greg, no. What are you talking about? I'm not gonna do that. No, and tried to like defend, and he pulled out his gun. That's when he pulled out his gun, and she was just like, "Do what he says."
Yeah, do it. So he has Chadney tie up Faith. Then he goes and gets Kara, brings her in, has Chadney tie her up, and then he ties Chadney up.
Yeah.
At this point, once they're all tied up, he gets them into the basement and makes them lay on the floor face down.
Yes.
He still has his gun.
He leaves to the garage.
Yeah. So she's thinking they might have a chance to get free while he's in the garage. So he's in there for however long and comes back, and he sliced her first, wasn't it?
No, she said, do you want to, she said that he asked her, do you want to see the girls, which his daughters, Coy and Kaleigh. And she said, yes, I do. And then he walks over to Kara, and shoots her twice in the head, and then comes down, and she says she can hear the baby gasping, and then shot the brother, her son, twice or 3 times.
He shot Chadney once. I remember that.
She shot at him 3 times. Only 1 entered his body.
Okay.
I don't know if he was squirming, moving, or whatever. And then she said that she heard him say, ow, like, ow. And then that was it. He came on top of her and was like, yeah, you want to see your girls? And she was shaking her head and crying. And she said that's when he cut her cheeks.
Pretty much from ear to ear.
Yeah. cut her cheeks, and then shot her, right? Shot in her foot or her ankle or something like that.
He shot her in her foot.
Yeah, shot her in her foot.
Yeah.
And then all she remembers, the next thing she remembers is being in the ambulance. And she wakes up and she doesn't know what's going on, where her kids are. She doesn't kind of remember what's going on. So everyone had to tell her. And then they brought her into her daughter's rooms, the youngest girls, because they were found dead in the garage inside the car.
Yes, and that was carbon monoxide poisoning. He took the babies out of the bed while they were still sleeping.
Put them in the back seat.
And put them in the back seat.
Right, and took a pipe.
Took a pipe and fed it through the window and turned the engine on, and carbon monoxide poisoning. Yep. So now we are going to revert back to about 20 years before all of this happened.
Yes.
So he went to prison for 16 years. Want to guess what he went to prison for, guys? Accidentally murdering his first wife. Yeah. Now, what makes her situation just as bad, if not worse, she was 6 months pregnant.
And she had 2 younger kids. She had 2 younger kids with another man. And she also met him in church. And they were married in 1989. And in 1991 is when she was stabbed. And she was 6 months pregnant with his child. And the woman that I seen do an interview, which was Tanya Green, which is the first wife, her friend from church, and was like, on Sunday, they laughed all day, they ate, they talked, and she said, this is it. I'm going to go home. I'm going to pack my stuff. I'm going to go. I'm not going to deal with this. Tanya was a believer, is what the friend said, that Greg was on drugs. With his personality, she's like, I think he's on drugs. He just flip-flops his personality. So she wasn't even aware, I guess, of his behavior. She just thought that he was on drugs. She was thinking that he was on drugs. And she was like, I'm leaving. I don't want to deal with this, and I don't want to bring a baby into this. And what started the argument or what exactly happened, I didn't find out. But
they never said.
He did call the police. And he did say that he accidentally killed his wife and they needed to come to the house. And he waited for the police to come. And he was sentenced to 15 to 25 years.
And shout out to Faith's dad for writing the letter and letting him that allowed him to get out. Then
because he was denied 4 times previous to that.
And there's a reason for that.
Because he showed no remorse and all of this kind of stuff. So I don't know if Greg reached out to Faith's dad and was like, hey, can you write a letter on my behalf? Or was he going to visit him? And like, I don't know how their relationship continued once he was in prison. But the fact that you would want, even with the accidental death, that would not be a person. I mean, you can come to church and you can try your best to get on,
You wouldn't be dating my daughter, though.
You wouldn't date my daughter, right?
Right. No, not if I have anything to do with it or say about it. You're not dating my kid. You can hang that up.
Dating my daughter would not be something that I would be like, oh yes, you're the one. You are the one. No, not at all.
And then my thing is, 16 years is just a long time. So whatever you did, even if it's something as minor as a drug charge, which I feel like, my opinion on the drug charges. But even something like that, for you to get 16 years behind a drug charge, like, what were you doing?
But my thing is, too, like, I feel like a drug dealer would have had to do the whole 25 years. You know what I mean? Like,
sometimes they get out a little early.
Yeah, I mean, they do. But I feel like they just don't take murder seriously. It's not a game. Like, this man is crazy. He stabbed this woman to death, and he only gets to do 6
years. He didn't get that much time for killing those kids.
Yeah, 47 years. I think and then he has an option to get parole in 2063. Even though, I would hope that he wouldn't live that long. But it's just like, he has an option.
There should be no option to get out.
Yeah.
But again, this is Detroit. This is
it's just the justice system.
It's Michigan as a whole. It's Michigan.
Talk about Michigan, girl.
Girl, anyway. We have some memories in Michigan, y'all. But so getting to the dad where it upsets me. It's you can't stop an adult from doing anything. You can't. However, to just and she said multiple times, her dad never told her. They never talked about what his charges were. Yeah. And like you said, this is 2008. Google was definitely a thing.
Right. And then she also said that she didn't even know that her dad wrote that letter until it was her time to go to court. And he didn't tell her. So it's like, what relationship did you have with this man? You would think that you would know if your dad was going to visit a prisoner to try to see if they could, be let out of prison. You know what I mean? Like, so you didn't even know he had a relationship with this man and he was going to visit? Like, he had to have some type of relationship to write a letter. You just don't write a letter and say, oh, yeah, sure, inmate, I'm going to write this letter for you. Like,
I agree, because you would have to know why they're there. But the way he played it in that interview after he killed her kids and his 2 new babies, again, the only accountability he takes is when he calls the police on himself. Because by the time he got to the police station, I told her, look at what you did. This is what you did.
Well, on the phone, he said that. He was like,
and the only thing that I can think of is because she was gonna leave, just like the first wife. He knew they were gonna leave. And oh my God, it's just never that deep. It's never go. Like, I can't make you stay. Go. You ain't gotta die.
I feel like the babies take away from what the woman gives him. You know what I mean? Like, because being a mom does put you at a different. I can't cater to a man when I'm changing diapers and feeding. Not cater, but I can't give all my attention.
I mean, but if he get up and change a diaper, make a bottle.
I mean, yes,
we can have more time for things.
Are like, I want all the attention, and I think that's what it was too. I think he was very angry about the love that these women had for their kids as well. Like,
jealous.
They would never love me like this.
And but also, I think Buddy, he was definitely bipolar. I don't care. Allegedly, I'm gonna say, but he was bipolar. And like, he was not all here. I feel like to some extent probably schizophrenic.
Yeah.
Because like, who flips like that?
And somebody with issues, for sure.
So after all of this has happened, Faith is going through all her kids' stuff, and she finds I hate when I forget the names.
Kara.
She finds Kara. I don't know why I forgot that. She finds Kara's diary. This is the part that pissed me off. This right here is what really set me off. Because again, as a parent, your child. You can tell when their mood changes. You can tell when they're uncomfortable in certain situations, especially around people. Yeah. She's reading Kara's diary, and Kara goes into detail about how she does not like Gregory, and everybody seems to like him, and she does not want her mom to marry him, and he's mean and he was overly aggressive to her specifically. And when she said, well, I never knew she felt that way. But in the same documentary, before we got to that part of the diary, said Kara would speak her mind and tell him exactly how she felt, and he didn't like it. So how did you think?
Not know. Yeah.
That she was okay with that.
Right. And then she even said that Kara was asking her, like, what's wrong with him? Why is he always so angry? Why is he so angry about a curtain? Because he was trying to hang up the curtain. And she was like saying, well, people handle stress differently or frustration differently. So
that's true with a curtain.
Right. You knew that she felt some type of way. And she had every right to.
I just feel like, from my own personal experience in the situation, girl, because my dog is just ghetto. Like, I'm not up here recording. Now I got to see if I can edit it out. Now we just out here with dogs barking. I don't know why he went outside either, though. But anyway, my own personal experience, and she's probably going to text me about this. I don't know. but there was a guy my mom was dating, and I never cared for him. I never did. And she knew. A lot of it was because it was like, you ain't my daddy. That was a good portion of it, but something about him.
Jim's one of a kind.
Hey, look, I only got one daddy. I'm sorry. But she knew I didn't care for him. Like it wasn't a question or whatever. And it came out later that he liked to touch on little girls. Now he never did it to me.
Right.
But this is information that came out later. And when you have girls, and not to say my mom wouldn't have handled it if something would have happened to me, because definitely she'd be in prison right now.
Right.
But you just have to be a little more careful, especially when you have little girls. In this case, it wasn't him trying to molest her. He just flat out killed her. He wanted her dead.
Yeah.
And I'm a big avid, and people, oh, well, you don't have kids, so you don't understand. And I don't feel like I need to have them to get that your kids shouldn't be meeting everybody right away. You shouldn't have men over your kids, not just with girls, boys too, but you shouldn't have a new man around your kids, I feel like, before the first 6 months.
And I also feel like when it comes to like dating a man, or dating a man, and or a woman, if you're a single dad or whatever, but bringing a woman or a man into your home where this is your kid's safe place, this is their place to be themselves. I feel like that's not a good environment to meet a person. I would rather let's go to dinner, let's go out, because this is my kid's safe place. This is where he is comfortable. I don't want you coming in and making my baby uncomfortable at his home, Right. So I feel like those things need to happen prior to you just being with some man, y'all moving together. And then, I feel like it was just a lot. It was a lot.
Cause it's like, were they even dating a year?
No.
Before they got married?
They moved fast.
Yeah, and again, I can't judge. I got married in a year, but I ain't had no kids. So it was just me and him. So we're nobody bringing nobody around, no kids.
You and him.
Right. So, but it's beyond me for you to sit there and read that baby's diary and know how she was. You knew she was outspoken. You knew she didn't have a problem with saying what was on her mind, but in the same breath, going to say you never knew she felt that way about him. And I just don't believe it. I don't. I mean, I'm sure there's some guilt attached to that for her, but I don't believe that you were just completely oblivious to the fact that there was some kind of conflict between him and her, because he was very outspoken about how he felt about Kara. So I'm sure Kara had said some things too.
Yeah.
So
it did happen fast, because they got married what?
It was barely a year, dog.
10? I think
like
it was
10 months. Yeah, it wasn't long.
And then what? 2016, they were dead. So they moved really fast. I mean, they married and had 2 babies, and when the babies were killed, or they were 5 and 2. So it
broke up twice.
Yeah, so it's kind of like they moved really, really fast. And I don't know. And I feel like when she did the documentary, she was saying all the things that she just realized now, and it's I mean, it's so obvious. You didn't realize it then.
Because she said he was nicer to Chadney. He didn't seem to have a lot of problems with Chadney. Mm-hmm. So another issue he had was the girls. What was your beef with the girls? Because you're mad because you got 2 girls and you didn't get your son. And then you don't like Kara for whatever reason. So what was the issue?
He didn't like his mama. His mama did something to him.
Girl, you know that's what it was.
Yeah, that's right.
You know that's what it was.
And then I did see an interview, or I read an interview that Kara and Chadney, is that his name? Their dad did actually Chadney's named after his father, and he was like, I've only met the stepdad once. He only met Greg once. He didn't see any signs of aggressiveness or whatever, and his daughter never told him. So I wonder if she just kept it a secret, or just said
the way I would have ran and told Jim.
Just I guess she just never wanted to, maybe she didn't want to bring drama to her mom, maybe because he, just, or anything. I don't know. But she said he said that she never told him, and that he believes.
And see, I would have just asked to go stay with my dad, like, period.
Yeah,
like, even if I didn't tell him fully why, I would have just asked to go stay with my dad.
Yeah, I said.
Which is how I ended up in San Diego in middle school. I wanted to go stay with my dad.
Don't be doing me like that.
I want to be with my dad, like, period. I just wanted to be with my dad. Everything else aside, I hadn't been with my dad in like almost 2 years at that point. So I wanted to be with my dad. She wasn't going to tell me no. So she sent me to my dad. So that would have been my out, because my dad is not going to not let me come stay with him. So that would have been my out. But I just feel like not just women, people with children in general, you just got to be a little more careful and a lot more mindful about who you bring around your kids, because you had a crush on this man when you were 14, 16 years go by, you're almost 30, and now y'all dating.
And you have 2 kids.
Then y'all married. Then y'all break up. Then y'all get back. And the first time they broke up for like a year. Then y'all get back together.
She was pregnant the first time. First breakup, she was pregnant.
Right. Then y'all get back together.
Right.
Then y'all file for divorce. Break up for 2 years.
2 years.
So out of that, what?
5 or 6
year relationship, they were only together for 3 years.
Yeah.
That's a red flag in itself.
Yeah.
Out of that short period of time, y'all was only together half of it. So y'all break up, stay broke up for 2 years, and not even a couple months after y'all get back together, he kills your kids.
Yeah.
And there was a trail of red flags and reasons why you needed to just stay gone.
And the 2 years that she was broken up, I feel like she could have been doing some investigation. Because, I mean, if I'm filing for divorce, I'm trying to get all my facts and stuff to get all my, I want the child support, I want my alimony, I want this, I want that.
Right.
So I'm going to get all my stuff. And so I feel like she should have been doing some investigation, and maybe she would have found out then what he actually did to his first wife, leaving those kids that had motherless.
Too nosy.
Me too.
To not try and figure out 16, not 6 months, not 16 months.
Yeah.
16 years? If you go for the weekend, I want to know what you did.
Right.
Nowhere in that 6 year, or we'll say 5 year time frame, maybe, you didn't think to ask anybody.
You mean tell me you guys never went out and then they were like, "Oh, what up, Greg? I see
you." ain't never met his family?
Right. Like nothing. Like, it's just so weird to me.
Yeah. And I know some people, when it comes to family, like, they just rather not talk about it. We're just not, oh, he made a mistake, because his family was still advocating for him too. So, because his family, I roll. Because his family was talking about he made a mistake and he shouldn't have to pay for that mistake with his life. Why not? Because
the baby is.
Everybody else did.
The ex-wife is.
So why doesn't he have to do the same thing?
In the documentary, she still has his last name. And so I Googled
No way. Ain't no way.
Has his last name.
Ain't no way.
I'm like, ma'am, shouldn't you get rid of that name? Like, that name I wouldn't want to carry that name.
Girl, I was on TikTok under the clip for that episode, for that documentary. They was eating her up in them comments.
Because I agree on some of this. I mean, I don't feel, I hate to be like, I don't feel sorry for her. But I mean, I
definitely feel sorry for her. I mean, nobody deserves to lose their kids.
Babies.
Yeah.
God, those babies were punished when it wasn't them.
They didn't have anything to do with them. Right.
But I don't feel like, I feel like she just was sitting there like, and I mean, you grieve how you grieve and you deal with your grief the way you do.
Mm-hmm.
But to me, it's just like, your kids, you make those kids, you raise those kids, you love those kids, you hug those kids, and for somebody to take your kids away, it was just not any. I would be, even if I got over my son being murdered, I would talking about the murderer would be like, I'd be like, I got fuck him and his story.
Right.
Like, I would be so upset still to even talk about him, and damn sure I ain't gonna carry that man's last name. It's just, I don't know. I just was like, what the hell's going on with this girl?
Right. But, what I do know from my upbringing, and it's not all Christians, but a good portion of Christians have this thing where you got to stick it out. Like, as long as they're not putting their hands on you, as long as they're not cheating on you, then you got to stick it out. Like, it's not that bad.
I mean, I would give the cheater than the accidental murderer. Like, I mean, I'm just saying. But
I can get over you cheating on me.
Yeah.
I can't get over you killing your first wife and now you want to marry me. No.
Stabbing her 6 months pregnant.
6 months pregnant. Stabbing her.
You didn't just knock her down, bump her, and she fell and hit her head,
or slit her throat. Even you stabbed her all over her body.
Dead, all over her body, her neck, her back, her chest. No.
No. So
and there is, because they believe in God and they believe in the devil.
Mm-hmm.
So you know the devil's you know that there is a devil. This man is standing right here. You don't see devilish crap in him. You're just gonna be like, he's not the devil. He wants to be saved. No, he doesn't want to be saved. He wants to kill you and your damn family. Like,
right.
Out of there. I just didn't understand that all these signs, and that's why I was like really mad at seeing her talk, because I'm like, you're so, you know, all the signs, you see all the signs. Now thinking about it, like, it just never hit you then, like right in that moment, you never said, this might not be the right thing.
When he spazzed out over hanging, like, I can get frustrated easy, but the way she describes how he like just flashed about hanging up
the curtain, and then I was like, y'all gonna stand there, you're gonna help me, sir? It's a curtain. Calm down.
Right.
You don't even have to hang it. Leave it right there.
I was about to say the same thing. If it's that deep, I'll do it. Just
leave it there.
Right now. Good grief.
Drop it.
Right. We can get some blinds. Like, get calm, relax.
Calm down.
There are other options.
Right. The rod.
So yeah, it's just I think that's what it was in her case, is growing up in church, her dad being the pastor. And I wonder if conversations were had with her and her dad, like, while this was going on, before he did what he did to the kids. Like, did she ever go to her dad to talk to him about some of the stuff that was going on? Yeah. So it's like I said, not all Christians, before everybody come attacking me.
Yeah.
Because like I said, I'm kind of think I'm gonna get a text message later. But
on Friday, on Thursday evening.
But, and that's not to say, let me clear that up before I get the text message. My mom had knew this man her whole life, practically. So this wasn't somebody new. She did not bring him around super early. So, but he had already been around. Like, I knew who he was before they started dating, kind of deal. So this was something nobody knew about this man until I was almost 30 when I found out. Yeah. So actually, when everybody found out, we was good and grown.
Older.
Yeah. So, and like I said, he never did anything to me. He never even actually made me feel uncomfortable like that.
Right.
Yeah. So, he had his preference. We'll say that. But not all Christians are like that. And I feel like some of that is probably why she just consistently looked over it, because I got to make my marriage work.
Yeah. I don't care about marriage that much.
The church, what is the church going to think? What are people going to think? Yeah. And I don't care what people are going to think. You don't have to live with this monster. You don't have to deal with what I'm dealing with.
And no one knows a partner like that. A spouse would know their partner. Like, no one knows. You see them at their worst, when they're sad, when they're mad. Like, the world only sees, oh, I love her, she's so sweet, we have a family, it's all, fun and games. But in the house, no one knows. So you knew what your daughter felt. You knew what you seen. Put it together, like a math problem. Add it up. It's not adding right.
I wonder if she was one of them people that just had to be married.
I mean, them
women that just, I got to be married at all costs. It don't matter who, what, when, where, how. I just got to be married. I wonder if she's like that too.
I don't know.
I guess. Well,
I just don't know what I mean, and then even looking at the relationship, it's like, what did you benefit from the relationship?
Nothing.
She never said like, like she just, I mean, everything was tragic from the start. Like there was nothing. Yes, you guys he loved you, he was sweet to you, but you never benefited anything from this relationship, and you lost everything. And the most important things to you that is not replaceable. You can burn down this house. I can care less. But my babies, like, I wouldn't take a chance with my child. It's just not a chance that I would take with my child. I'm not gonna play around.
This story drained me.
I know you were mad,
girl, because the reason it hit me the way it did, and I wanted to talk about it as much as I wanted to, was because of her. Oh, well, I didn't know Kara felt that way about him. And like I said, in my situation, my mom knew that he was not one of my favorite people. She always knew that. So I just don't believe that she did not know. Like, I think that's what it was. Like, my mom could tell by my body language, how I would respond to him, my attitude, just everything. She knew, and we talked about it.
Right.
And she asked me, and I said, no, I don't like him. And she said, why not? And I said, because he ain't my daddy. And it was just something about him that just never sat right with me. But mostly, he ain't my daddy. So yeah,
I just don't understand.
I don't believe that, and it just that bothered me to my core.
And I don't believe that they didn't know. I don't believe that they didn't know nothing about the crime. Like,
the dad knew. The dad knew. If nobody else knew, the dad knew.
Somebody they knew, and her saying, "Oh, he said he pushed and shoved." It's just like, no, that's not enough information for me. What do you mean you push and shove? And then my next question would have been like, well, how's her family? Do you talk to them? Because for me, I'm like, healing is to let her family know as well, like, you're sorry, you didn't mean this, if that was the case. But his behavior, and then that bull crap excuse, we accidentally, no. I would have been on. I'm just like, no.
First of all, United States justice system in the state of Detroit, or state of Detroit, city of Detroit, state of Michigan, get it together.
Yeah.
This man killed 4 children. And before that.
But do they have like the death sentence?
Even if they don't have the death penalty, every state has the life sentence.
Oh, well, I mean, yeah.
Like,
I don't see what the point of keeping people in prison anyway. I mean, I'm like more like, why do we have to pay for them to be in prison?
I feel like these are the people that should be enlisted into the military, especially people like him. Like, people that, you send them to war.
Let them go real war. Like a war. Don't
you want to fight? You want to kill people? Go over there.
Now they just sitting around right now. But
right.
Wartime, send them over there.
Go send them. You want to kill people? Go ahead. Send them over there.
They got nothing else to do.
Right. You ain't got nothing else to do. You're just sitting around wasting time, eating up tax dollars. Go do that.
Right. and then Tanya's mom is paying taxes for you to be in prison, and Tanya's baby, her baby Tanya's gone.
No, I'm not gonna do it. Yeah, no, just send them over there. Like, why am I paying for them to be comfortable? They shouldn't be comfortable by any means. Like,
he gets to go to the hospital for free. Let his ass
why is commissary even an option? They just need to eat whatever y'all got. Like,
put it on there.
Like, I'm not talking about minor crimes. Yeah. I'm talking about people like him, rapists, child molesters, child murderers in general.
I mean, and I was about to say, and don't even get me started with you, because you know how I feel about Justice and a stupid list of pedophiles. That sex predators or whatever, that list is silly. They don't care about that list. It is ridiculous. They need to switch that. And then they also people who get in trouble for domestic violence. I think that they need to be known. Like, people, like how we have a predator list, like you can look online.
Yeah.
Domestic violence should be on there too.
Yeah, there should be a database for that too.
Right. Yes. He beats up women so that other women can know. because that ain't it. Because if he was on a list, maybe she would have been like, oh no, you didn't just push your baby into a stove. You actually stabbed her 190 times. So that sounds like, we don't need to be together.
Right.
Sounds like this
like I said, this story drained me. I had my notes wrote up when did we started 3 weeks ago, 4 weeks ago this week. I had my notes written up then, because when I first watched it, I'm like, this is just, she's out of hand. Yeah. So that was a good one. I think I'm gonna send a message out.
You might want to make sure you're gonna say this.
Give her a heads up. I don't think she'll be too upset, but I think I'll give her a heads up. Anyway, thank y'all for watching. As always, Instagram, No Crime After Dark _ podcast. Facebook, No Crime After Dark. TikTok, No Crime After Dark. I promise you, it's not hard to find us at all. Oh, YouTube, No Crime After Dark. So stay tuned, like, share, subscribe, all those things. Shout out to everybody that has been supporting.
Oh my
God. For the viewers, the people that are liking the social media pages and keeping up. We don't know what this might do or where it might go. We're just enjoying it right now.
These are just really our everyday conversations.
No, seriously. So we're just enjoying it right now, and we appreciate y'all's support, and we will see y'all next week.
All right.